Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily. Now, more than ever, our data is at risk. Our supply chains are in jeopardy. Our systems are broken, and businesses feel powerless. Dragonchain gives you a different way, a safer way, a better way, and you have power over your data. Dragonchain gives you proof in an untrusted world. Build now at dragonchain.com, America's blockchain.
Hello and welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky episode 0x5C. It's the 93rd episode. Welcome to the show. This week I don't have a backdrop. I'm in a new room, and I'm gonna get all that stuff still ordered and stuff. But anyway, just so you know, this week updates: number go up, sponsored by the Memes Lair. It might be the best lair. It's at least one of them. It's generated 4,760 matter to date, which is a great thing. So this week, DragonNet nodes, and we are at, is that 20? Gosh, I can't see it. It's not big enough here. 1 second on my screen. 2240. Okay, excellent. 2240. So keep them coming. I think there were a good few. I know there was at least an extra L1 added, but a few other nodes as well. Lots of stuff happening there, and a lot of interesting things. We had some issues with the time system the past couple of weeks due to the Ethereum node. We think we have all of that wrapped up, just so you know. And let us know if you see any issues that are remnants of that. It was kind of a messy thing to pull apart because of other services outside of our control that we had to iron out. So next up, the May 2021 LCP commitment phase has started today. It will last for 1 week, and the top 5 votes in lore will be created, in a top 5 that have by unique lot voter will be created as well. You can go to the LCP page and actually click the 2 tabs to figure out ranking, placement, everything else. So make your decisions, get them in before the end of the week. I know I missed a couple of things last month, and I'm not going to do that again. You should have time to, again, a week to do everything. Let us know if you have any questions. The internal lore has helped a lot. I think people have saved thousands of dollars in fees over the first couple of LCPs because it's a single transaction to bring the lore in. So that's a good thing. Next was we put out a blog that you guys should go check out. It is about flexible and scalable smart contracts as powered by Dragonchain. Very important stuff if you're talking to people about blockchain in general, about Dragonchain in particular. It gives you a lot of really good info on the flexibility, the scalability, the ability for a business to use Dragonchain for their business process orchestration with smart contracts. And it gets definitely into the ease of use, and the fact that developers of any stripe and any language can be immediately productive on Dragonchain. It's very important, very powerful. So go there. It is dragonchain.com/blog, smart contracts powered by Dragonchain. Okay, and I think that's all the updates. Get your questions in, and we'll be right back with the live AMA.
DeepSeek Exchange is a safe, easy-to-use, U.S.-compliant exchange.
Because cryptocurrency is such a young industry, there's still a real lack of transparency.
So we are actually using Dragonchain's technology to help solve these transparency issues.
DeepSeek partnered with Dragonchain to take advantage of their anti-fraud and transparency systems.
So using Dragonchain's technology, we're actually able to use provably fair tech to verify that our order books and trades and executions are all very transparent to our users. This alone makes Beaksea the only provably fair exchange in the entire world.
I have more than 20 years experience doing large, technically complex projects. One of the things that I was really pleased with in working with Dragonchain is that it allowed us to do the integration with their technology very quickly.
That's what makes Dragonchain and this a perfect partnership.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
All right, welcome, guys. Trey and Phil. Should we do introductions? Everybody knows everybody. We should be good, right? So anyway, let's we'll get to the questions. But what at high level, what's been going on this week that we could talk about?
I'll start.
Yes.
High level. The potential clients continue to respond very favorably. Yesterday, we were on 2 calls where, again, the customer was almost insisting we sign a contract on that very first call. And Trey and I were, we're used to reaching out and chasing the customers. So they kind of caught us off guard in their demand to sign up yesterday. And, there's a lot of variables, a lot of moving parts, because Dragonchain it's a business, it's a platform, it's cyber safe. It's an enterprise. There's a lot to discuss, So, and then this morning, there's a very large client that we heard back from that said they are presenting this week to the CEO, and it's not a matter of starting with Dragonchain, it's a matter of what department within their big company do they want to start with. And that was a good thing. And then right after that, this morning, Trey and I were on a call with someone that was recommended Dragonchain from one of our partnership agreements. And this lady had 1 project for us, 2, 3, and then she got to 4. And I thought, I hope she doesn't get to 5. So she has 4 projects. She's sending paperwork over to Trey for the 4 projects and us working together with her and her team. And so,
it's nice. It's nice when we're starting to get our channel partners sending us consultants versus just corporations. So people that are touching 30, 40 different companies and projects versus trying to find the one that has the right initiative.
Right. Scale. Right. It's just, we can get multiple things started, get them moving. I know. So that everybody in the audience knows, we've set up on the other side a number of channels that will help us augment dev staff as well. So we're breaking it down where we will have dedicated. We will have when we have spikes and things like that, and then occasionally, of course, the devs that we have on hand already on core that will handle that, because that was my big concern early on when Phil started really coming in, and Trey had been branching out all these new sales channels, and the fact that it was a lot more all at once compared to, like, say 2018, when we're talking to one project at a time. So that's the way we're going to do it. It's working out. It's starting to really pay off, all the hard work, and the bigger picture for anybody watching that's interesting to me about this industry. We're at least I think we're honestly quite different than most, and at least a lot of the cryptocurrencies that are out there that that you hear about on crypto Twitter and Telegram and wherever else. That adoption is kind of the thing that we were built for. That's why we built. That was our stated goal at the beginning, to provide. And it's funny because at Disney it was really about positioning the technology for the real world, right? That if Ethereum and Bitcoin really weren't, and they weren't built for what we're built for. So it's not a fault or anything, but it was not what I was envisioning. That real businesses using this technology for real things, and that's why every bit of architecture is what it is. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and frankly, there have been a lot of things that have really made it harder for that to turn over, because when a business doesn't understand what the technology can do, and they think, oh, it's about speculation. It's we had in 2018, I had walking onto stage to give a presentation, and the intro, the guy actually asked, so Joe's going to tell us about blockchain and about Dragonchain and tell us whether Bitcoin is a scam, right? And I'm like, what? It was the craziest thing. And it was, a bunch of business people, but this guy, probably a VC or works for a bank or something, who knows, right? But there's a lot less of that now. So anyway, you guys ready? On to questions, and hopefully I'm going to try to pick some out so you guys can, it won't just be me talking, right? Hopefully. Okay. So, okay. First up, paramotor valui. When farming staking. Now, I assume this is a question about lore farming on Den. It could be about Dragon, and you could call time a staking system, but it's a staking system in your own wallet, and it is much more, in my opinion, valuable and secure way to do staking, or the equivalent effect of staking, and it's of course been there forever. And there are some things, well, I'll answer later more about time. I think there's another question about time. But lore farming, we originally were going to do, I say traditional, the traditional DeFi model, the way that you would expect farming to work. But we realized there are a number of economic things that were kind of silly about that. And in particular about our users, the fact that it would leak value. That why would I want to use that? I have to have $5,000 worth of lore for it to make sense, because of the fees that I have to pay to push stuff in and out of that. So we found what we think is a better model, and I wanted to have it this month, but a lot of other things were prioritized above it that were necessary. So hopefully next month. We have the plan, we have the model, we just have to put it in place. So it'll be pretty cool. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So when is time coming into the picture? Doug Goodlin. So I assume you mean, time's already there, time's already used on both sides of the equation for verification and for businesses, for business nodes. Now, if you're a business listening to this, time is the system that measures how many dragons you've held for how many days in a wallet, and it is the base scarcity of the entire DragonNet economy. And we, if you're an enterprise customer, we will tend to white glove that for you behind the scenes, so that you don't have to, understand that. But suffice it to say that it's necessary to make our blockchain network scalable, economically in particular, but technically as well. So very important. And we have one remaining piece that we're pretty much waiting for the adoption cycle to really kick off. We don't want to do it too early. We don't want to do it too late. that will solve what is the time leasing system. Some of the early, we had a very early offering of it that's still in place that is not very well used, because there were a lot of things I don't like about it, a lot of things that people don't like about it, and we have a solution to the whole thing that will be in place for the community to be more to make it more flexible, so they can capture some of that value. People that have been holding dragons and have built up a large amount of time, we want to make it more usable in a friendly way, right? So we think we have that, and it might come. Maybe it'll come right after the lore farming. Who knows? It's very, very interesting stuff. Okay, let's see here.
I'd like to make one more point. You alluded to, if a business is watching, one of the benefits of having time be the way that we gauge loyalty as opposed to using rigs is that we have dramatically lowered our carbon footprint by using time as opposed to that electricity. I think that's a very key benefit. Right.
Which is interesting too, when some of those systems are coming wanting to track stuff like that, particularly in Europe, but also, looks like in the States, being able to say that is a big deal. So, it's really important. Let's see here. Okay. This one is a little hard maybe to answer, because there are a lot of pieces to this, but Babar Rafiq, any plans to list Matter on other exchanges? Because the Ethereum gas fees are so high, sometimes 200. We've heard that they're as high as 250, 280. I can't remember what the number was that I saw, for Uniswap, because there are multiple smart contracts. I don't know. It's a very complex system. So there's a lot of gas that it takes, but to do a swap. So it looks like it's not going to cool down for new denizens, hard to trade and hard to get in. Thanks. So Matter is released in the same way that the Dragon was with as a tokenized micro license. We did that on purpose because all of the legal it was put in place prior, and it's patented, so we can say it's approved by the U.S. government, U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, right? Whatever that means. But it's it's an interesting thing. So I can't answer directly because of that. About a couple of things. Theoretically, any of them could list it on their own, and that would be a great value. We are going to be adding some stuff for the locked lore and for the lot. We have a few extra things to check, but our goal is to make those tradable inside the system. So, and I don't know the extent to which some effect, like say cashing out to dollars, I doubt would be there, but I have no idea. But I know that we want to be able to, for example, let people sell their lot for lore, exchange, tip people with lore or Matter in particular. We have one group in Gainesville that's wanting very much to use Matter for either local community. They have some very interesting things going on there. So anyway, maybe a long answer. I didn't really maybe answer you entirely, but let's see here. Okay, this is a Dragonchain question. Full value, Dan. Would it be possible to run a demo on the process, start to finish, for a business to run or modify smart contracts? We'll look. I mean, it'd definitely be possible. If I'm not wrong, I'm almost certain we have a couple of them in there. I don't know about the modify, but we'll look. I know that we have somewhere where we have a developer actually building a cron smart contract, for example, from scratch and showing it running. I think I know I've seen a demo of a modify, so maybe that's what I'm remembering. On our demo Fridays in the past. But anyway, next up, sales question. Parameter value for Trey. Sales rep still growing. How many now?
We had 4 more last week, so I think that brings us to 76, 77. I didn't look before this morning. My bad.
I know I need to send one out. I think you sent one over. Yes. I haven't touched. Yeah.
And we're not just getting sales reps; we're getting consultants that are coming over from our channel partners. So to me, that has a lot of value. I love the sales reps. I love the community effort, but some of these consultants are really well connected and have the pipeline of their own that they're ready to hand off. So very exciting.
Yeah, and once they start coming in, then it'll be one after another, hopefully. So okay, full value, Dan. Again, how does a small business with no coding experience get started with Dragonchain? So I can start a little bit of it. Trey and Phil can maybe answer more of that. For small business, I mean, it would be the primary would be use one of the products that already exists. Right now, we're slowly rolling out more and more of them to a full productized form. Right now, there are a lot of things that we have built that are not fully something you can come in and just kick it off on your own, but we're getting there. And otherwise, if it's something unique or something different that they have an idea for, it would be to email sales@dragonchain.com. Is that the best?
Yep.
And then we'll reach out, and if it's something strategic, will help a lot. Otherwise, we can offer up some level of if they have a budget that we can build what they need for them or integrate. There might be something we already have that's like, hey, I want this too, but I want to plug it in here, and we can do that easily. Have anything else to add there, Trey, Phil?
Other than it's a lot of times it's really about the API. If they have an API, it's really a lot of times about plugging endpoints together and figuring out what they want to migrate over, instead of, it's not necessarily a 6-month long build out of a bridge like they may have heard from another company. It's really more of a weekend endeavor.
Right. Very good. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to mention, go to the merch store, dragonchain.store. Now, I wanted to basically brag to Trey because I think he wasn't able to get.
I was denied.
They banned this, guys. This was banned. So we're gonna find some other source somehow to have it printed, or maybe we'll modify it a little bit, see if they print it for another couple of weeks. I have no idea.
Does it not just say make blockchain great again? It's just blockchain. Okay, yeah. Just want to make sure there. All right.
It's not even a frog. It's a dragon. It's weird. It's like everything about it is like, well, there's a red hat. Maybe we changed the color of the hat, and maybe it would have worked. But either way, whatever. Okay, next up, Jim Gibson. Can anyone allude to the value and magnitude of projects in the pipeline, and are you close to ink on any of them? So close to ink on any of them, you guys would know better than I. I mean, I don't judge anything until it's on paper or until the effect of it is in the bank. But sure. So that's when you'll know. By the way, we aren't going to say anything if we're just talking to somebody very important. But what would you say about magnitude? I mean, that's hard to say, but
I mean, I could say valuations, and I just don't want to get in trouble. But they're not M's, they're not millions. That some of these projects are with a B. I mean, that's true. So they're larger, and some of those are larger sales cycles because of that magnitude of the value of the project.
Right. Yeah,
and I'd like to say to Jim, is it? Yeah. That very interesting things going on in the sales cycle at Dragonchain, because it's speeding up significantly to the point to where I'm kind of stunned when I'm on these phone calls, like I mentioned earlier in the show. And also I've noticed that some of the smaller clients that are on board with Dragonchain or in the pipeline and soon to be on board, I expect them to be medium-sized companies a year from now. So they're small this year, and Dragonchain allows them to scale quickly. And so that's going to allow them to grow. So these small startups will be medium-sized companies in a year, and which is very unusual. And then we have amazing stuff going on. So lots of stuff with the small companies, and lots of stuff with our pilot program, pilot relationships. But then we have very large customers, government-based, non-government, but associated to the government, very large clients that are trying to move as quickly as these small companies are. So the pipeline is stuffed and it's moving at 150 miles an hour. So it's a little bit scary, to be honest with you, to be in the seat we're sitting in at Dragonchain, to watch this explosive growth that normally would be going kind of 20 miles per hour, and it's kind of going 150 miles per hour now.
Right.
From 30 different directions, you know?
Yeah.
You know, all this
and
running fast.
Right. And in my opinion, the great part about the whole thing is that it is unlikely to be affected by the market cycle, right? That these are fundamental requirements that they're coming in with, that these aren't related to, oh, this is, you know, some hype. I want to build a project on Dragonchain so I can announce it, you know, and do something like that. That this is, you know, really about a required technical need, and you know, that's why it's like, man, we could end up if the sales cycle happens, you know, we could end up hitting something big during a, you know, full-on bear market next year or something that would be really interesting, you know, because right now the market is so focused entirely on speculation. There's little else there. Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything, it's all speculation. You talk to the people, they don't even know what half of the tokens that they're buying do. It's really weird. I was at a doctor's appointment yesterday, checkup, and it's like two people in the office were you know, it's like, oh, you know, what can you tell us about, you know, and they're wanting their crypto portfolios to be, you know, evened out and stuff, and you know, it's just you know, very bizarre thing. So and I don't think that's a top signal either. I think that's a weird thing. Things could really do unexpected have unexpected effects this year. It's really strange. So anyway,
you know, what I'd like to see is how wide the scope is of the products that are so hot right now. It's not just smart contracts. Yes. It's not just NFTs. You know, the interoperability is really huge for a lot of companies that are doing larger projects. That's a must. And then the quantum safe is also now sliding over to the must category.
Yeah.
But we're seeing even a lot of loyalty and rewards, organizational incentivization leads just in the last 2 years. Yeah. And that's always there, you know.
Yeah. Well, we've even seen very serious inquiries into using DEN for some healthcare, you know, real, you know, big enterprise stuff inside of DEN. So that's, you know, that's even, I didn't expect that, right? That was very much on the other side of things. So, okay, Chris Crypto is lore farming. Answered before. We are hopefully next month, depends, new model. And you know, obviously we're going to try to time it so that it happens before the LCP, so that people will have lore to use, which is, you know, be good. Next question, Chris Crypto, are there plans to have Dragon staking itself? And if so, is there a timeline? Now, if you mean for lore, yes, that's mixed in. And it's an interesting piece. We might even have time staking. So that might be a useful, amazing, interesting thing for some people. So also from Chris, are you able to share the number of developers working at Dragonchain? And if so, how many are there? I don't usually share that. It's like, that's just, that's a topic for poaching and all types of things that we don't want. So anyway, let's see here. Is it possible to share the number of Dragon held in customer wallets theoretically removed from circulation? Wow. I don't know if anybody's done that. We have some data about it that I guess if you would want to say to filter out the exchanges, you know, you could probably look at probably KuCoin, and I guess you could go to CoinGecko and look at the top volume exchanges and look at those, you know, figure out which wallets they are, and pretty easily subtract that from the amount. Otherwise, we have reported it on request to CoinGecko most recently to update their circulation number. So that might, although it would include the exchanges. So let's see here. Are we able to monitor the reserve wallet that Dragon has? If so, can we know the wallet address? Well, if you know the wallet address, you can monitor it by definition, right? Because it's on Ethereum. I don't know that I would give out the wallet address just for security reasons. So you could probably find it, but I'm not going to advertise it. Let's see here. Okay, so Chris Crypto Rock 136 quote, still believe that dragons will be scarce on exchanges in 4 weeks time, question mark. I would expect some momentum to be picked up. I have no idea. Let's see here. Here's a reasonable one. This is a crypto one, but it is technology. So seeing that Dragonchain is a hybrid blockchain, why can't they get away from the Ethereum blockchain so the fees are not so high? It's not any better than wiring money from a bank, from Ironsharp. I don't know what Ironsharp is or where it came from, but we can get away from Ethereum blockchain if we wanted to. Right now, you'd have to tell me what a reasonable alternative would be, and would it be worth spending a couple $100,000 to do that, at least to do that? It probably wouldn't. Ethereum, for all of its faults, is a pretty amazing system, and even more amazing ecosystem. We didn't have to spend millions of dollars developing a hardware wallet of our own. We didn't have to spend millions of dollars figuring out ways to get our token listed on exchanges, which because we couldn't do that, right? That Ethereum is precisely, and ERC20 at the time in particular. It's funny, we've had to answer that before for legal reasons. Why did you use Ethereum? And literally, the standard itself spells out why we used it. That it's a standard so that it's easy to tokenize something, and that happens to be, to date, the killer app for Ethereum. That, but everything else that you say, okay, DeFi is an amazing development, is a very interesting, unique thing. It has ugliness involved. It has a lot of exciting stuff that is happening, and I think through the rest of the year is going to happen. But I think Ethereum is not financial advice, but I think Ethereum is still way underpriced based upon what is happening and going to happen. But how do I say, it's used for tokenization, whether it's in and it's providing security. And so we secure the Dragonchain tokens on Ethereum. Now you can bring them in, and in fact, you could build a system that could use dragons inside of a Dragonchain node to avoid all those fees. So if you have customers that you would want to actually use dragons with, and not just speculate with them, if you want to use dragons, you could build a system of your own that would be entirely inert, that would have no other than entry and exit, would have no Ethereum fees involved, right? You pay the Dragon fees. It'd be brilliant. That's why we're here. And in the Ethereum world, they would call that a layer 2 solution, or whatever else. I don't know what the flavor of the week is, but one way or another, that's what they would call it. And yet our intent is to be that for the world, right? To be that for Ethereum, to be it for Binance, to be it for your accounting system, right? That we're the thing that can connect stuff in ways that you can trace and track and have proof. So anyway, let's see here. All right, this might be for Trey and Phil. What are the steps when onboarding new clients? How long on average does it take for a new client to create a level 1 after the deal is closed? From Anada.
That really depends on if they have an API built or not, really, and then what, it's really case by case, but it can happen in a weekend for sure, and I don't think that we've had any that we're working on right now that have been a prolonged onboarding process. The only one that we're having trouble with is someone that wants to build their own API. So we're waiting on that. But other than that, and we
have had one system in particular that took months because they had to integrate a system that was reasonably complex that they didn't write themselves, right? But I think everybody we've seen has been really a fast onboarding. They're pretty much set a node up. It depends too if they have their own devs versus our devs that they want to get their hands dirty, right? Because sometimes it's like, okay, they spin up a node, they get familiar with the API, they play with it, they ask questions, then they start plugging it in, right? We obviously ourselves have turned on pretty complex systems over, in an afternoon. And that's just, the ledgering part. That's, not necessarily, well, it is new code, but it's not new smart contracts. But same time, we've turned on smart contracts. I mean, at that demo that we mentioned earlier, I know that's in the span of a few minutes that he writes a full smart contract and and deploys it and everything in a couple of minutes. I don't remember how long it is, but I can't type while I'm talking, right? It's kind of like I can't do that, but it's like some of the devs pretty good. Let's see here. Wait. All right. So here's okay, from Johnny M again. I believe it was previously mentioned that we would be able to sell dragons plus time at some point. Any update or ETA on this? There was a system in the past everybody probably knows about, where you could sell your dragons in an escrow in a decentralized way to someone else with the time attached, and it would basically automate what you can already do. And make it so that it happened in a way that you didn't even have to know the other person. But there is a time transfer mechanism, so that if you have and this is stated from 2018, if you have a compromised wallet address or a compromised anything on your end that you want to move it to a more secure address, that we already have the mechanism to move the time. And it, as it was, that was developed independently, and it had a few drawbacks because you had to transfer all of it. You couldn't just cut it up and say, hey, I want to give you this much of my dragons with the time attached and still keep some. So it was less often used, right? We have a couple of things that we intend to replace the CTLC system with that would answer a lot of those questions. So we don't bring it up yet, though, right? Let's see here. I don't know if, okay, so how many clients are using DragonNet at the moment? Do the new onboarded clients test on DragonNet also, or is there something separate? There's all manner of things on there that obviously some of our own systems use it, like Den. Den uses it for every single action on the system. Eternal, the Academy. There are various, all the things we do, obviously. But there are also a lot of clients onboarding. There are a lot of clients that we don't know anything about what they're doing. We've been surprised. We had someone from a pretty big place that I'm not going to name at all that had sent in for user support because they had transferred their dragons to the wrong place and needed some help moving them to the right place. And I was like, oh, I would have not thought that they would be building on Dragonchain. So who knows what they were doing, right? So there's a ton of stuff that we don't know about. Anything that we haven't announced, obviously I can't talk about. And otherwise that's why the metrics site is there. Okay, let's see here. This one is Dragonchain seems to be in a number of interesting areas: cybersecurity, supply chain, net zero carbon. Is there a focus on any particular areas more than others, and which are most lucrative? What do you guys think? That's definitely a question for you guys.
I think we're focused.
Go ahead, Trey. You can start. I'll jump in.
I think that we're seeing interest in all three of those categories, which kind of determines where we put our efforts. So, we're always reaching out to all sectors within all of our products. I don't think that we, zero in on one or another, but I do think that the scope of what the interest coming in is very wide. And obviously cybersecurity is at the forefront. Supply chain, we have a ton of interest in, and then the carbon tracking and the carbon credits equal. I'd say it's almost 33% across the board.
Yeah, and supply chain, not because it's an area I've been involved in, but I've said for years it's a big giant item on the budget for these companies, supply chain, and they struggle to be innovative to really turn that stuff around. Matter of fact, the client this morning with the 4 projects, pretty much they were all touching or directly involved with supply chain. And on cybersecurity, what I want to say on that point, it's very weird because Dragonchain is a business and it's a blockchain. And it's got many arms and legs that can do many things. But we don't get a chance to talk about, I'm not sure if we're 0 carbon footprint free, but we're close to it for all the carbon footprint people out there. And then secondly, on the cyber piece, it's very interesting because, we have 5 layers within Dragonchain, and good luck trying to navigate through those 5, okay? And then we have Dr. Al sitting on top with the polymorphic random number generator. And then we have the $4 billion per year financial decision a hacker has to make. And they have to say, do I have $4 billion in my bank account that I want to drain out to hack something over here at Dragonchain? Or should I pack my bags and go somewhere else to someone who's not using Dragonchain where it'll be easy to hack them? And then finally, we don't ever talk about on Dr. Al's camouflage, which is a subset of his polymorphic and all of that, he actually has offensive tools that he designed for the military. But we actually have offensive tools in there, which means and this is becoming interesting to potential customers, but so with Dragonchain, it's this blockchain company, but within our cyber solution, we have offensive tools. So if someone gets near us, Dr. Al could chase them down. So you have defense, you have offense. Instead of sitting on defense, we can go on offense and, push out some significant heartache on those people. Yep. And we don't ever get a chance to talk about it. It's embedded in the camouflage. So Dragonchain is a blockchain first, and it has many other things around it.
Right. And it's interesting too, because the intent of that whole 5-level structure in the architecture was to handle those cases for attacks, to get the proof decentralized as quickly as possible on as many nodes as possible. In a way that is more structural than mathematical. And then we added the mathematical to it with Dr. Al. So it's this beautiful balance across the whole thing. So,
and I want to make a point, on that note, if someone were to have that 4 billion and they wanted to attempt the hack, that only covers the 51% attack. That doesn't include the 2,300 nodes that we have in our Dragon Net. And it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to get the level 1 keys. They have to do all of those things in a very short amount of time with a very low probability.
Yeah, and the fact that you would have to, the world outside of Dragonchain would see the effect that there would be a simultaneous forking. Let's say you have a nation state attack on another nation state because they have proof on chain. They're going to have to attack all the 2,200 DragonNet nodes. They're going to have to attack your business nodes. And then they're going to have to attack, you have to have a simultaneous attack on all of the nodes that we interchain, or all of the foreign blockchains that we interchain with. So the world would already know about it. It would cause a panic anyway. So, you would know there's something suspicious about, oh, wait a minute. Isn't that when that transaction went through on my side? Anyway, all right, next up, chat cams 1, 2, 3. There's always a lot of talk on the shows about new clients and customers. How come this isn't showing and the L1 nodes increasing? So we ask the hard questions too. I would say it is the sales cycle. I mean, a lot of the things we're looking at are they're longer sales cycle, bigger things, right? And some of them aren't as long of sales cycle, but that's my answer. You guys?
Yeah, my answer to that is stay tuned, keep your eyes wide open, because you're going to see, increases everywhere.
Yeah. And we did have a reconfiguration of one of our clients, which it made it seem like we lost level 1s. And then we had some new clients that kind of buffered that out. So I think there's
True.
been some other things that have occurred, as
Right.
well as some of these clients have already said, yes, we want to go forward, and we're just picking out what department we're going through. So the level ones are coming.
Right.
And some of
There's
these bigger
also
clients- some of these bigger clients we're really close to dotting the final I on, and I think that's when you're going to see the the traction.
right.
And
And we
by
do
the
have we
way-
did have a big cluster. Like we have a new enterprise cluster arrangement as well. So we had one system that we built up as a cluster in on the operational side to just verify everything and make sure that it's acting as we expect. So so we grew it up and back down. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. What I want to say is that some of our clients, because I mentioned earlier, we have small ones that will be medium next year, and then we have some real big ones. Well, one of the big ones, they're in 100 different countries, and they have customers everywhere. So we're counting them on the books as one customer, but technically they're going to expose us to hundreds, if not thousands of customers.
Yeah, and some of those, and it's been a recurring thing for the architecture side that we can allow the flexibility. So let's say you have the hundreds of customers. Some of them might be very, very small. Some of them might not warrant having their own node running. That you can have a common node at the cluster, let's say at the enterprise. But a lot of them will. A lot of them will probably have something. And we're also hearing a lot more about sensors, where the sensor would, you'd have a node that had sensors on it. So you'd have a lot more, there'd probably be IoT embedded systems devices in a manufacturing supply chain, that type of thing. So,
Tying into authenticity.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, device identity. Amazing things. Okay, next up, Chris Crypto also. He's maybe this is from Telegram. He's forwarding questions. Makes obvious, right? From Goose Creek Unlimited. Would putting Dragon tokens into a family or farm trust violate or infringe on patent or other proper use? If I understand it correctly, I don't see any way that it would ever infringe on a patent or proper use. It's a holdings. So it's like, say, if I had licenses, let's say I have 10,000 Microsoft Windows 10 licenses that I have an enterprise and that I could theoretically put those in a family trust, right? There's nothing illegal or bad about that. It's just a thing that has value that I'm putting in a legal instrument to do whatever it does, right? Does that make sense? I think that's the right answer. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Also, Goose Creek Unlimited. What is the minimum amount of Dragon tokens needed when a business or enterprise onboards? Is there a graph or example to view? Thanks, team. Trey, you could probably answer that, right?
Yes, I could. There is no minimum needed because the client can come on and lease that very first month from us, from the community. So they can start with zero, and we try to work with them to help them build up their stash so they can push down that lever on their own.
Right. I mean, in the past 2 years, as an example, when we would talk to people about time and about tokens and about even Takara and about all of the things that we were excited about that really made us scale, they didn't understand it. Whereas if we talk to a business about literally, here's the value, here are the capabilities, here's what you want, and here's how we price it, and that's literally you get so many transactions, this rate, and overages are these rates, and it's like something to understand.
It's like a telephone company without the penalties for overages.
Yes, it's more just a flat continuance of the fee. It's just if you come in at a certain level, because I know that I'm going to have 5 million transactions a month, so I'm going to come in at this level. It means you have enough to do what you expect, yet it won't be crazy if you go over that. So
and if someone goes way over their expected allotment, we'll work with them and bump them up to the next level as opposed to making them go over on the transaction fees. So whatever makes more sense, we're going to help them out.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So Chris Crypto, no, thank you for bringing those over. That was actually great. Next time we're probably going to put the AMA and DIN, we didn't really have time yesterday, and I was working on 2 hours of sleep yesterday, so there were other things that were more important going on. But we'll have them in the DIN AMA next time, so it'll be easier for everyone that maybe can't come in live, right? If the time zone's weird or something else. JepCams 123. When will hodlers be able to benefit from renting time to these businesses? So CTLC system is already in there, but it's kind of, it's not that rewarding. It's not that great. We know that it needs to be improved. And so we might roll something out when some of the adoption really starts hitting, that I would at least expect that would be a stopgap where we maybe increase the reward or something else, right away to make it simple. We'll, put it, and we'll be transparent about it. We'll tell you, hey, we'll go and buy up to this amount from CTLC, that type of thing. That's kind of what we expected to do. And yet the plans for the future are much better than that. The plans for the future will be a much more exciting, fluid approach, something that is more powerful and flexible. So let's see here, why we can use NFT and smart contract both separately. I'm not sure if I understand entirely, but you can use them both. You can use them both separately. You can use them together. You can use NFTs and tokens on the same chain on Dragonchain. You potentially could have 100 or 1,000 different fungible tokens on Dragonchain, all integrated with Ethereum or whatever other integrations you would want, using smart contracts and even NFTs, right? So, I mean, on DIN alone, we have a single node that handles the Matter ERC20 token, internal, external, and the lore tokens. And I think it's at least somewhere, it's in 100 million NFTs as well, right? So I don't know if that answers you, but that's at least what I think you meant. Let's see here. Lloyd Blanchard, how can the marketplace of smart contracts, etc., be accessed? Right now, it's all simple. We had, for various reasons in 2018, not implemented everything we wanted to there. And primarily that was because adoption was not there yet, right? There were not enough people building smart contracts in 2018 to warrant a marketplace for it. And so it was prioritized out. That's still on the list. And it's one of the things that we tend to do manually right now. I guess I would say best. It's, it's as if you considered it a consulting practice, that someone comes in and says, I need X, Y, Z, and I need it plugged into these systems that you've never seen before, that we will take the existing IP and bring it to bear, to plug it in. And it will be the equivalent. But right now we're still, frankly, working out the monetization of those and how, how they can best be put to use in a generic way, right? So does that make sense? It's probably the best way to describe it. Let's see here. Whoops. Sorry, I just wanted way too. Oh man, do we have that many extra? Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know. You guys tell me if we're gonna stop it at an hour and we'll try to go fast. Let's see here. Any thoughts to bridge Matter or Dragon to other blockchains like Cardano instead of them only being available as ERC20 tokens? If there is a business reason, we will have thoughts to do it, right? I don't see any business reason, because you don't have a big enough ecosystem on Cardano to warrant us spending the money to put that in. We have so many things. You wouldn't believe how many things we need to do, right? The dev staff is over taxed. We have tons and tons of work, both on Dragonchain Core and on DIN and with customers. So, that's not high on the priority list, but I'm not against it. It'd be a beautiful thing, right? Especially when they get their smart contracts. So I guess let's check it. All right. Let's see here. Any big news on the horizon, guys?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good. All right. When can we expect L1s to grow? What's the process of onboarding clients? I think we answered those. Who banned and how? I do not know what that means. What's your revenue structure like? How's your company make profit? What's your profit margins? Do you publicize your balance sheet? We're not a publicly traded company, no matter what any regulator might think, and we don't publish that type of info. So if you want to know that type of info, send us a resume and make a case that we should hire you, and you get an NDA, and you might get some of that info, right? So you might not. Let's see here. Are the sales reps, consultants making commissions for bringing in Dragonchain customers? If so, opening this up to the public would get a lot more people spreading the word. That's an interesting idea. What do you say, Trey?
Yes, they're making commissions, and we're pretty open about our referral rewards or our sales rep contracts. I mean, it's a very generous commission. It's 12% of the gross commissions, and that's for the lifetime of the contract as long as you're an active sales rep.
Do we have a referral for the sales rep program? Is there a reward that you would?
There is actually an override that you get if you, as a sales rep, refer another sales rep. So you get an override on their commission as long as you're an active sales rep. And that's in the new sales contract that we put out about 6 months ago.
Yeah. So that's already there. What he's describing is already in place, right? So let's see here. Man, what is this? I'm gonna block someone. Let's see here. Can we give a little details about new way of farming? Let's say it is a new way of farming without fees, with the proof, with all the things that would be necessary. And the beauty is it's with proof on the other chains. So on Ethereum in particular, but potentially we could do it with any other chain that, if you're talking about a dogmatic view into it, that this would counter that because, well, you already have the proof on Ethereum, so we're doing this over here, and you could probably guess what a lot of it is, but we know that it's going to be exciting based upon what we saw with the LCP and converting what was an entirely a mostly external focused operation to signal support for certain new layers in the community, that we moved it to the inside and we allowed both, and we had probably 99% of all activity, maybe more, on the internal, because the fees, right? I mean, it's like you're talking about, oh, this is free because it's inside a DIN. I mean, even if we charged, it would be, it would be 1,000. Well, I don't even know what our transaction rate is for DIN, but it's really, really low. So anyway, next up, with all of the explosive growth, are you concerned with not being able to service all the new customers? What's your plan to handle the increased demand? A lot of this is some of the stuff that Trey had been setting up is even channels where we will be able to expand our ability to execute, right? And that's both that's both on the business and the technical side. So definitely sales involved, definitely partnerships and business involved, but a lot of it was to bring in new dev resources. For a commercial side, as an example, all of the universities that was announced last week, was it? Mm-hmm. The stuff with Raj. So a lot of it is based on that, but we're also building up a lot of other mechanisms to be able to bring in new people and new devs, in particular, engineers.
And Raj, speaking of Raj, he's actually penetrated the U.S. university market just this last week. He had several U.S. universities that he has been in dialogue with, and one that he's already contracted with. So it's great to see him.
He's great
globally.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see here. I haven't even read this yet. I'm going to put it up. It's too long. Can you tell us the other public blockchains Dragonchain will access besides Bitcoin, Ethereum? Their technology consensus is expensive and slow. Are there faster ones to enable better business? Let's see here. The way we scale it, though, it's Ethereum Classic is there, so we will hit it sooner than Ethereum or Bitcoin typically, because its cadence is faster. We have a couple of interesting plans to expand that a lot, and we've said that in the past, but we came upon some very clear barriers to do that. It wasn't worth us spending a a lot of money and time in engineering to handle some of those foreign chains because they are not well maintained. Some of them. I'm not going to mention any of the names because I don't want to say anything negative about a different project. But sometimes the nodes are not well maintained. And it's a pain in the butt when there's a fork or a new version, and it would cost 2 or 3 days, sometimes longer, obviously, but 2 or 3 days typically to upgrade one of the chains. It's like, I'd rather have the devs working on something more productive when if Bitcoin and Ethereum makes sense because we can measure it, and that's how we get our $4 billion a year worth of security, which is like $5 to $10 million a day. And we don't even count the other ones because they're so significantly smaller than those two in hash power and network power. So anyway,
we are talking with one partner about a public chain, about an interchain though, that we won't name a name, but we are in advanced talks and have some agreements on the table.
Yep. And I'm hopeful because in the end, the real goal for the level 5 layer is diversity of algorithms. That is, Ethereum has a different mining algorithm than Bitcoin, obviously. Litecoin does too. Even though I don't like Litecoin, I would love to have Litecoin on there because it's a different algorithm. Litecoin's horrible. But still, it would be some added security in the odd events that Litecoin survives and none of the other chains. I'm joking. I'm just joking. It would be, it's interesting, right? So let's see here. Logan Driscoll, are you seeing most companies that are interested in using Dragonchain interested in owning Dragon or some form of CTLC to support their chains? I think a lot of them have asked us about the token side, which was new compared to even in the past years where the token thing would be sometimes seen as a negative. It's like, I don't know, why, how do I get the tokens? Maybe I don't want to mess with that. But we've had a lot of the bigger prospects asking us where to get, how to get, and any info we can provide about the token. So you guys want to add anything to that? Because I'm just like,
well, and I think there's 2 different reasons for that. I think they're wanting to lower their transaction rate, but I think they also are starting to see the investment opportunity by holding on to those tokenized licenses.
Right, and even the ability to say, oh, if they buy them now, I'm going to have a year's worth of operations for what would be a month, right? That's the type, and that's that's a speculative thing. Again, not investment advice, but if I were one of those businesses, it's like, well, that's what they makes total sense to think about.
And I think part of that is they realize that there's not 130 billion tokens. There's very few that are actually in circulation, and they realize over time that same token is going to cost me more down the line versus just putting in the treasury now. Yes.
Yep. Token with utility and scarcity. Interesting, right? There's no mining. That's the other thing. It's like I see all the hubbub about Ethereum. Oh, is it sound money? Is it not? Is it deflationary? Is it counter inflation? I can't remember what they're saying Bitcoin is, but that they're all inflationary right now. If there's mining, then literally it is inflationary. There might be a model to reduce it, and there's a word for a slowing down of inflation, but it's still inflation. And dragons are static. We have a fixed number. You can even measure some of the numbers of how many have been accidentally burned. That they'll never come back. Let's see here. Any big news you can't speak about yet? As in pipeline, Kevin 99. It's like, yes, maybe. I think yes, maybe. I don't know if I'd consider news or not. But, we already talked about CTLC revamp. Okay, here we go. Polymorphic random number generator. How do companies react? Is it on the radar of our government yet? So the two questions. How do companies react?
Okay. Sure. Well, it's so bizarre, right? I've been in this for about 5 years with Dr. Ale, but for the rest of the world, when you bring up the poly RNG, initially, it's a little weird, to talk about things like numbers that stretch 1 billion, times around the earth and things like this. But with this constant hacking and city water departments being hacked and that whole oil issue, and people are going, you know what, Phil, can you tell me more about the poly RNG? So yes, it was weird, you know, a couple months ago, a couple years ago, but now it's kind of mainstream. It's really getting its day. And then the government, you know, this is kind of almost, it's kind of comical because, again, because of SolarWinds and because of a whole bunch of other hacking that hasn't been made public yet, the government has pivoted and said, we've got to have poly RNG, we've got to have it in smart contracts. Thank goodness Dragonchain has a patent on smart contracts. Thank goodness we have the poly RNG. So they want poly RNG, they want it in smart contracts, they want it in a blockchain. Priority one, government-wide. So the government, whether they like it or not, they've embraced it in a big way. So we're like in the early of the innings of the game, but the biggest, you know, business in the world, the United States government, has embraced it, acknowledged it, and blessed it. And we're the only ones with it. So it's almost, we should take a break and just sit here and laugh because the timing is insane.
It really is.
And then going back to the poly RNG, you know, by definition, it's math-based. It's kind of hard to explain to people, but it is a formidable force to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And that's that. So if you're a hacker with limited math skills and things like that, you're going to have to go somewhere else where it's easier. Sorry, Trey.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just think that people are really a lot more open to understanding that we're in a post-quantum world because of all these hacks. They're realizing, you know, they talked about quantum computing being, you know, down the road, but if we can't even withstand these kind of attacks now and quantum computing is still in its infancy, I think it's starting to really get through to them that, okay, if we have a problem now, we're really going to have some big problems if we don't get ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Okay, so we're running along, but I'm going to at least do 2 more and I'll see how many more there are. Brian Schmicker, sorry, I know I mispronounced. Any word on incubator program coming along? Thanks. We're working with a group in Europe that's doing some really smart stuff that has, there's a lot of potential there. And I do believe that something will come out soon about, you know, the plan, the model, what we're doing there. And it is definitely the Dragon scale stuff applied over there with all of their legal, you know, what they can do. So interesting stuff. Yeah. I'm really hopeful about it because the world needs it. But anyway.
And I have a standing meeting every week with that team in Europe, and I can tell you they're really progressing and we're getting really close.
Yeah, so good stuff. Next up, is it possible from JMML, is it possible to know how DIN is working? I'm talking about positioning organic visits or through search engines. It would be nice to know if the effort applied to DIN is being rewarded. Interesting thing about that, we're working on a full new, and we talked about it on the DIN governance call yesterday, which is every Monday, by the way, every Monday at 1 Pacific. And you can go to the DIN Telegram group or inside of the DIN Gov layer itself to get the link to that talk that anybody can join in. But one way or another, we're putting together a full metrics site that'll have site-wide metrics, you know, users, all of anything you can think of that we can put in place about layers, about leaderboards for layers, leaderboards for evaluators, all of the different parts of the system. And then obviously we're going to replace, the main point is we're replacing with a much more graphical user payout report as well that will be, you know, nicely done. So anyway, all that's coming out. I would say it's already, you know, it's very early obviously, but we've already served out, or I would say that evaluators, content creators, and community leaders have already been rewarded somewhere near $500,000. And in only 3 months, I think it was, I'm getting this wrong, but I think it was $170-something thousand worth of lore was used to create communities. So it's real stuff, and people are getting real value out of it, and yet it's very small, which was somewhat intended. I mean, you can look at the AMA with Hacker Noon and see a lot of the answers to those questions. All right, I'm going to skip some. Somebody's asking about scarcity on exchanges, but I will tell you, I don't understand the question. So let's see here. I think CBDCs can be used. I don't even, what is CBDC? Do you guys know?
No, but that same word was used earlier today in a call, and I was too embarrassed to say that I didn't know what it meant. So I'll research it.
Sorry, guys, we'll look it up. I don't know. And you can ask anything in DIN. Go to DIN. I'm not going to answer in Telegram, at least very rarely anymore will I answer in Telegram unless I'm wanting to troll someone back, right? So if you have any legitimate questions, go and answer them in DIN, so they'll be on chain. All right, I'm going to skip because there's still another, maybe a couple dozen questions. So let's see here. We are hiring. We have at least 2 job postings out right now for engineering side, UI and back end. And we really need good people. More than anything, we need good, passionate engineers, right? People who want to build good things, and that's all they think about. That's what we want. So
that fit in the culture.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Totally. Okay. So that's everything. Sorry it went longer. I didn't really mean for it to go over an hour. But if you guys have any more questions, like I said, put them in DIN. Follow Real Denizens. Follow Dragonchain Gang. Follow Jojo Row. Also follow Dragonchain. We do own that. We just haven't started using it yet on Twitter. And definitely go and join DIN. Make sure you subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching. I think that's everything. You guys have anything else that we want to hit before we sign off?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys, for coming on. And thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So withdrawal detachable from the mandible, you see it now.